Start it up. Dun, 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 dun. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Azakai here. Welcome back to another day of the Asia Division CBL Conqueror Blade League for the season of Paragon. We are on day 11, and we're going to be watching the winners bracket this time. Sorry about yesterday. Again, I did say that that we're not going to be. I said that the next time we get to see each other, it will be on the Friday, but then we did get matches yesterday. But today is the Friday, so these are the matches that will be happening, which are the winners bracket ones. Let me just quickly. Alrighty. Updated schedule from Luna Shark. Very nice, very nice. So, today we have TKT facing off against Ace, otherwise known as the Knight Templars versus Hellfire. Following that, we'll have Ecliptos versus EFFS. I'm not even going to try to say EFFS name because they're. No. Hello, Mezume. No. ECL will be fighting in the second match, so from an hour from now. We'll get to see the Knight Templars versus Hellfire first. So those guys will be coming up soon-ish. But I'm really excited. I'm looking at the developer chat here. We've got a couple of people saying that Hellfire is going to win 2-0. I think both Hellfire and TKT are definitely pretty strong teams. But I'm going to have to play favorites here for TKT, mainly because I have seen more of their matches and probably some more concrete performance out of TKT. But nonetheless, we have the first battle beginning in a few moments. Here on Wall Fort, we have TKT attacking first against Ace. Ace will be defending majority here at the A point. They got two people going to spawn at the B side. Let's take a look at their unit composition. We have a very strange banner guard coming out from TKT. We got the two Bastion Wild Flames. Very, very nice. But on the defending side, we got Claymores, we got regular Halberdiers, a lot of blue units mixed in with tier 4 units. That is very interesting. A lot of Tundra humans. This is a lot of cavalry coming out from the defenders. The attackers as well has quite a few cavalry. We've got one TKT going out with double cavalry. I never like the attackers going out with double cavalry. It really locks up their potential for a failure on the wall. Pike is a favorite. Again, Pike's flexibility is really strong. Doesn't really give very much. It's still to be seen whether or not the developers understand that Pike is too strong. I think Pike is a bit too dominant. It's clear. It clearly is one of the more preferable classes. It's not exactly like a short sword who's only has one thing that it's good at. Pike is super flexible, but maybe that flexibility is the reason why they won't nerf it. Because if you nerf down the flexibility, what really does the Pike have? Um, although small nerfs here and there should I think are warranted. TKT not going for the B side. Small fort kind of just left it now. Honestly, the cooldowns in general are pretty short. Um, I don't think I think the frame. Okay, so like the frame of CC immunity. The so um so whoa, what is happening here? TKT just going straight through the front gate and up onto the A wall. We did see some Demez pikemen just kind of go through the front there. Very strange. Ace gave up the wall, so that's very. So Ace gave up the wall, pretty standard, I think, since the number of cavalry. Um, Not very much resistance, so TKT did. So yeah, that was not. So it was a blitz, but they didn't come up to any resistance. So They've kind of walked right in. They're going to lose most of their momentum here. I think TKT is going to go a bit slow now. Got to really find out what Ace wants to do. They can't exactly expect Ace to just sit back and let them take C now, can they? It would be a bit of a surprise, but I think rotating to a C style push, a lot of heavy infantry that TKT has brought out. So definitely something you want to swap over. Expect a field battle type. Want to go with the more Medal heavy, I would say. But we have some mortars, some ballistas coming out. Gonna do a little bit of shelling. But while we do a little bit of shelling, I'm gonna have to agree with you, Mezume. The pike dodge, very abusable, mainly because it is one of the only classes that has a triple dodge of style. Not to mention, it only has a 3-second downtime between sets. So that is pretty massive. But I also do have to say, without the option of a reliable recovery skill, Pike does have a little bit of a weakness. I say a little bit because they have the shortest cooldown ult in the game, around about 30 seconds, and it does help them recover. So a 30-second recovery, is it bad? Yes, but with how difficult Pike is to pin down, I think Pike really has some flexibility in there, so they shouldn't have to worry. They don't worry too much about not having that recovery option. Not to mention they dip in and out of battle fairly easily, so I don't think I don't think Pike has very much issue. Here we have the Pikes just two-tapping this spear. Very surprising. We got most of Ace coming up coming up onto the A side wall. Gets trimmed super hard. One big smack right into those Royal Janissaries. We have the Berserkers out in front. Kind of just swung off there, but we got Palace Guards. We got Imperial Spear Guard as well. We're now reinforcing with Medals and Iron Reapers. I think this is a really stupid move from Ace as they're going to get blasted to pieces as they get hauled up on the stairs. Very surprising move. Claymores, by the looks of it, seem to be getting clapped at the front here. We got the Shield Maidens now running for their lives. Could be a sweep here. Ace, what are you doing? Showing that one weakness, taking a massive loss. Now, TKT is coming down the stairs, going to lock them up onto this supply point. Is a great move after a huge loss. Not to mention 8 players dead. And it continues to swing in the side of TKT. Very, very stupid move, I would say. And more troops are clocking in as they slow march towards the supply point. Ace has lost massive advantage. Just took out 2 heroes though, a little bit of a pickup, but I you could not afford to keep throwing in troops into the supply point. You could not defend this even if you wanted to because the losses were so heavy on that counteroffensive. Unfortunately, the counteroffensive did not work out, and we have again, one by one, these men march to their death. I'm not sure what they're trying to achieve, but TKT will eat that medal for free. Massive retreat from Ace now. Big mistake. Big, awful mistake. Losing out so many troops. And not even allowing TKT to really use those artillery. So what was the trade-off? The usage of the artillery or your units? Honestly, those artilleries, even if they are worthless, you still got a massive pickup. TKT is up huge right now with probably a 10 unit lead. And I'm being quite serious. A 10 unit lead is going to be so massive that Ace needs to win so convincingly against TKT to even have a hope of, even have a chance of holding off the second attack. And it is 12 minutes to go as well. Ace didn't take the Trev into consideration when they are doing the offensive. Probably not. If they did, they severely underestimated how much damage it can do. because they took a massive treb to the face. I believe the Royal Janissaries got split apart, and I think the Claymores as well got hammered. Whether or not the units got hammered, I think the heroes also got disorientated by getting trebbed. It's also one of the most awful things in the game, just getting hit by mortars, trebs, those kinds of deals, steel. Surprisingly, one of the mortars did go down. Looks like they're using artillery to counter the mortars. A very good plan. If you can trade 2 artillery for one of your artilleries as the defender, that is super amazing. Nevertheless, TKT taking up this right-hand side. I've never understood why this right-hand side is so important, but I think it's also to cut off the supply point. And finally, an English streamer at this time of day. Hello, Disposable Knight. Yep, I would probably be the only streamer for Conqueror's Blade, you'll see, at this time of day. Everyone else should be either from the EU or the NA, so North America, EU or North America. I stream for the Asia server, so I'm kind of around the UTC plus 8 time period. So I stream from around about 12 to 8 on the Mondays. I sometimes stream other days as well, but Monday is my main stream day, and I only stream about once a week. The devs are streaming right now, though sometimes I hear a lot that the developer stream is just not engaging enough sometimes. Which, yeah, there's also, enthusiasm as well. When you have some of the guests, that adds a lot of enthusiasm. And Morgan as well. Lots of enthusiasm from him. But unfortunately, it's just that he's had the energy, but he doesn't have very many things to talk about. I'm up very late, so watching stream at 8 a.m. is pretty hard. Oh, 8 a.m.? My goodness. But anyway, we are watching the Asia Division CBL, and this is the first battle between TKT versus Ace. Right now, Ace is in a very precarious situation after taking a massive loss on the wall, trying to being too aggressive here. I think TKT is being a little bit too cautious, but at the same time, really want to get some bang for their bucks as they take out more and more units with those ballistas. They took out quite a few cataphracts as well. Nothing to scoff at. Almost 20 units, probably 30 odd units have died by artillery fire right now. Yeah, that's very surprising. Not very often do I. Well, actually, no. There's plenty of EU players come along to watch pleb matches. I'm not sure if they watch the other matches, but they come around to watch the pleb matches at the very least. So how do you liken the CBL Disposable Knight? You come to watch the CBL? So surprisingly, TKT does take the supply point here. I don't think Ace really wants the supply point anyway. They kind of just gave it up for free. Not even a fight, but they're taking super heavy damage. That Treb as well. Youch. Push on to the supply point is going to be a bit awkward here. This is very strange decision from Ace, not going for the supply point, now going for the supply point. It's going to force it through with a lot of winged hussars, but not working out too well. Most of the winged hussars get locked up there on the bottom of the stairs. And, whoa! Look at the unit count drop. Jesus. Ace getting dominated super hard right now. And I don't even think this is a contest right now. Ace is going to get pushed back all the way back to the spawn point as TKT finally makes their move towards the base point. Going to sweep up the Demez Pikemen really easily and probably cap this final point for the first victory. Super easy. I'm going to be honest, my guy. I saw this guy was English, recently remembered this game, got really into looking into it since I don't have a PC yet, and thought, fuck it, let's watch this. Hey man, I watched Pixelated Apollo's video as well. The unfortunate thing about a Pixelated Apollo's video is that most of his games are on the earlier levels, so you only get to see a lot of the low level troops fighting it out against each other. And I'm not going to say that the low level troops are not fun and all. Some of the high level troops definitely are overloaded, and the power creep is crazy. But I have to believe that Conqueror's Blade is definitely a kind of niche game that is very difficult for a large player base. But if you like Dynasty Warriors, but you like a little bit more strategy, because that is what it's really about. It's about more of your unit. It's more about units than it is about your hero. So if you like that, that is real. This game is for you, definitely for sure. Honestly, from what I heard, the lower level is more fun since there's less unit supremacy. That is a good point. When you're starting out, the low level units, you can play whatever you want. Everything is viable because nothing outperforms the other person so much that you can't just make it up for it with just hitting them with your own weapon. But when you get into the higher levels, it becomes ridiculous. There's only like it becomes you become a meta slave the higher level you go, and that's why the tier lock at the beginning is really cool. But it's a little bit grindy at the same time. You get a you get you have 700 leadership, and you're bringing in like four, maybe five blue units. Oof, man, it's a slog to get through so many units. Sometimes you just want to stick with one unit and beat up as many as many people as possibly can. Oof. A very fast first match though, as you can see. The high level, like when you got access to the tier fives, battles can end really fast. I've not heard about that. Roblox has apparently Warlords, a Roblox game. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that, man. You got me interested to see some other versions, because the only game that I know that is even close to what Conqueror's Blade does is what it's technically a spiritual successor from is Tiger Knight, and probably its direct competitor, Blood of Steel. That is also um, that is one of the things. Let's have a look. What is Warlords? Oh, damn! Yeah, no, the Roblox Warlords thing seems very. I I think this is the benefit of kind of like the Roblox like platform, is that it's very easy to get like the structure of the game to work, and since they don't have to waste too much time on like animation or kind of like graphics or anything, they can get a pretty deep game already. And I'm looking at this, and this is really cool. So yeah, the Warlords of the Roblox game, definitely very similar. Mechanically, I think you'd get a little bit of differences, but not bad. Like I'm watching some gameplay right now. This is it reminds me of kind of like old Conqueror's Blade. Like before I could just use one unit to just stomp out the enemy. Yeah, no, like I agree, Mesme. It looks fun. kind of like a simpler version of Conqueror's Blade. In all honesty, I think it probably is closer to Blood of Steel than it is Conqueror's Blade. It's not perfect, and it does have certain unit supremacy, but it's a lot of fun and does require strategy placement. Best part about it is that it's all made by a solo developer. Being a solo developer, man, must be a real struggle. When you got a dream and you dream big, sometimes you can make some amazing, some amazing things. But yeah, definitely that is. I'm really hyped for like people to get excited about. I'm not even sure what to call this type of hero unit control strategy game kind of thing. Conqueror's Blade has never really had a kind of like an exact name for the game it was. It's the game could be a lot larger, but despite people wanting to help out, the dev is a bit too paranoid. That's why he says he won't be making a team anytime soon. I think the problem when you start up a team is whether or not people's ideas mesh together well. Sometimes when you're working as a solo developer, you have a vision for the game, but you have no experience on trying to direct people in making your game come true. So the developer has probably has good reason not to have other people work on the game he's working on, and that's mainly because he wants to keep the game focused on his vision. People could come in, change some things, and it will become something else maybe. People are afraid of change sometimes, or changes in directions they don't like. Nevertheless, we are here on the second battle. We have Ace versus TKT, and Ace is attacking on Hidden City. Not a unfamiliar map. It has been kind of like a wall fort or hidden city kind of supremacy. Still get that pike supremacy for both sides. We have a 5-man musket squad for the defenders though. TKT also still going out with pretty heavy on the tier 5s. A couple of tier 4s actually coming out. We got those nice Bastion Wild Flames. Not Definitely got to watch out for those guys burning up your front line. Ace dropping out a lot of cavalry, so definitely not going in hard on the cavalry. We only got about 3 cataphracts and 1 tundra human. We have shield units in the mix, so let's see how well those shield units work out. I mean, sure, you've got a point, but ultimately, as the creator, you have the final say in. As the creator, you sometimes, as the creator, sometimes your vision is stagnant. It doesn't move. That's why that's why there's a lot of inspiration. Like the game mode's there. It not. I don't believe anything stopping from other people from taking that idea and running a different direction with it. Like Blood of Steel. Blood of Steel is pretty much like exact same concept on a super high level, but not down to anything concrete. But these kinds of games are really cool. I love the fact that that Conqueror's Blade exists, and I'm happy that I'm playing it right now. Do I like the direction it's going in right now? No, not in particular. But it is a niche game. There's not very many competitors, and I think the more people I think there should be more people in general willing to start their own vision for the game instead of just running with other people's ideas, because ultimately like if you're not the creator, you have very limited. You don't have any rights at all to influence the direction or development of the game. So that is, I think that's I think as a player of Conqueror's Blade, that's kind of the reality of things. So we're just gonna have to wait for the developers to really see how they go. Western or AAA studios only likes to make shooters and battle royales. Yeah, no AAA studios will ever make a strategy game. Strategy games are dead to them. I mean, let's be honest, strategy games don't actually have a very big audience. As much as we like to say that, like, there's 30 players on this battlefield right now, and well, look, watching pretty stock standard stuff here from Ace. The most fascinating thing here is not the number of players, but like the units that are on the field as well. How many entities are moving? Because realistically, you could have like 12, like over 1,000 units on this battlefield. Mountain Blade is also a very nice is also similar in concept, but in practice it's a very different game. It's got multiple levels to it that's different. Ace looks to be going straight through the front gate, going for that supply point. Takes a left turn. No defenders at the front gate. Does look like someone's going to try to chokehold the gate right now, but might be a bit too late as they just stampede their way through to the supply point and just cut off everyone inside. Whoa, a street battle at this level. The Medals are getting rear charged by some Iron Reapers and some Royal Janissaries, getting smacked on from behind and from the front. Gets eaten up very quickly. Ace does taking a massive move again, sacrificing a lot of units, but they are getting the A point. Gonna break the suppression on the siege towers as they go in. Surprisingly enough, the Cataphract is making enough disruption that they actually are still holding the supply point. They haven't grabbed the supply point just yet, but if TKT does grab the A point, that means they spawn at the front gate. Only two people have died. Surprisingly, TKT is the one dying. We have 4 people dead for TKT. TKT is unable to pressure this supply point as Cataphract makes another sweep through. We have Tundra Humans coming out from TKT now. Could challenge the Cataphracts who are out of abilities right now. And this supply point does get swept back to TKT's favor. But we have the heroes from Ace moving on to the point. No units though. Very slow. So gonna fall back from Ace, but TKT doing a very desperate push back for that supply point. Probably sacrificed quite a bit for that. In fact, I'm not sure how Ace was able to pull off such strong resistance for that supply point. I believe the Cataphracts probably definitely built up a lot of value as they were just running around. Oh, probably, as we're coming down to a little bit of a slow moment, does pick up the right-hand supply point, but I get taken back by TKT. Unfortunately, most of the video game populace has fallen into liking mindless game or pay-to-win games. I think I think it's not that people have fallen into liking pay-to-win games. I think people like games. Unfortunately, they have pay-to-win features. You can have a good game. You can have a good game and it being pay to win. Doesn't mean you like pay to win games. It just means that that there are good games even if it's pay to win. And that is apparently true about Diablo Immortal. It's a good game. It's just super pay to win. It's so pay to win that it's disgusting. But it's a good game. Also, I think people tend to like high pace action games. So first person shooters have always kind of been the place where a lot of people just spend mindlessly shooting other people running around because it's more intuition kind of stuff. I would say strategy games is where you start is where you really need to think. Oh, actually no. Rainbow Six Siege definitely a first person shooter game where you really need to think because strategy is really important in Rainbow Six Siege. How to breach, going into rooms and stuffs. But that's probably just due to the game mode. But if you play like something like Call of Duty, you just run. You just run at the enemy until you find someone. Man, if even, it probably costs even more money to get a single max character, but by the time you even spend half that amount, you'd be so overpowered that who else would you even fight against? What's the point of having a max level character on a game that no one wants to fight you? If you're so strong that you're literally the strongest person in the game, no one will fight you. Going up through the center, very smart move coming out from Ace here. Not taking the far side, so um, sometimes you have a kind of back and forth between the supply points, but the center control really puts the defenders in a pickle because as you can see, some trebs do get in on the backside of that B section, and Ace onto this point here. TKT taking a little bit of losses from the trebs, a little bit of losses from the Balconetti Gunners, and the definitely taking some losses from this retreat. This retreat is not done early enough. I think if you're going to give up B, you should have ran earlier. Another Treb could be looking for TKT's counterattack, but luckily it's just a miss. 6 Trebs left. That Falconetti is doing an amazing job putting a lot of pressure into TKT. TKT can't really respond right now as they continuously fall back. Ace now falling back towards the B point and moving across to the right hand side. The left hand, CBL teams have been favoring the right hand side a lot. I don't know why the right hand side's more important. Um, Strategically, the left hand side should be easier, but the right hand side seems to be more popular on a lot of teams. I would also like to pipe in that uh, R6 is actually mindless. It rewards reaction speed over strategy. Uh, well, I guess so. It's still a first person shooter game, so your actual skills at first person shooter game comes more down to your physical abilities and less to do with your intelligence. So I do think there is a section of Siege where strategy is very important. Much more so than other first person shooter games, but that's probably just unique to Rainbow Six Siege or just Rainbow Six. But nevertheless, strategy games have never really been the big popular game that everyone plays. Although I do wish the developers put more emphasis back into the strategy of this game. You do end up with a little bit of a samey kind of approach. So we got the artillery bombarding into TKT right now. We got some mortars. We got the Falconetti gunners shooting in. Um, Ace is comfortable on this right hand side. TKT is comfortable on the left hand side. Probably not a bad position to be in. Right hand side, I've never really believed that a right hand side push can really dominate the way that a left hand side push can. Should just stuck with what the original case. Oh, yeah, feature creep, power creep, whatever you want to call it. Um, when shit starts getting overloaded and you're just adding in so many broken abilities, the game becomes less I don't know. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, sometimes the more you add, the less it becomes. Like, there's a lot of features in this game where I'm just like, why is this here? Man, we got TKT coming out with a couple of surf units already, which is very surprising considering that they've only had one massive engagement. A little bit of losses on the retreat, but TKT should not be already on surf units. They should have definitely one more go, or TKT could be making a big mistake. A counter-offensive at this time? Not to mention at half strength going in from the back. Going to get Treb on the top of the stairs, getting pushed into it. Treb is going to be massive, and I saw all of those medallions getting knocked down and obliterated just there. Sandstorm is pretty good balance of shooting and or strategy in its hardcore co-op mode. You have to be good at shooting and strategic moving, positioning, add in limited supplies and manual need to mag check, and it's really solid. Has a lot of flaws still, but still good. Yeah, definitely can have better games if people were just willing to develop it, that is. Well, TKT got pushed out completely out of the base point, as you could expect after that weird sally for half their strength, and most of Ace still being nice and strong. We have the Tundra humans sacrificing themselves, trying to break through, but Medals and Imperial Pikemen should deal with that very easily, but Cataprax does burst right through that shield wall, nothing protecting it behind it. Gotta have some pike units to stop that Cataprax, but the Cataprax does get eaten alive. But we have Medals now moving up half strength, or even just or probably more than half strength. A pitched battle here on the base point now. The heroes are in favor of... Well, never mind. They just flipped to TKT massively, and this is probably because of reinforcing pressure. These guys were probably wounded from the get-go. Pikes versus Pike. Whoa, nice cleanup from TKT here. I didn't think, well, the Catapract really did breach a hole through that, and the reinforcing units were able to get onto the point. The pickups from TKT were quite clean, even with fewer heroes able to clean up the remaining heroes from Ace. That was pretty nasty. Yeah, although not very good. Did see that there was apparently a permadeath, so thanks Mesme. Apparently there were two. I only saw one. This is where I'm a bit scared for TKT, mainly because TKT will probably have a little bit less units. Musket heroes? Yes, not musket units. We have, and rightfully so, ranged units actually don't deal very much damage all in one go. They deal a little bit of damage. Most of the time, you can have most of the infantry units kind of run down. Oh no, cavalry in particular can run down ranged units really easily. They have less health, and they're only meant for DPS. Ace going in with a desperate push there in the south entrance. How it is being pulled off at the last second. Medal's at the front for TKT. Could hold back the tide of surf units, but it is also Medal's at the front. Wow, that is... Look at the unit kills go. Massive victory for Ace here. Now pure dominance of unit quantity. I'm not sure if they got quality as well. Do you see a Fort of Russia? That will be difficult to dodge and weave through. Does take out two heroes simultaneously, and gonna take out some horses. That Fort of Russia is probably the deadliest unit on this. Well, probably deadliest unit on this supply point. I mean that base point, and TKT cannot hold for another 55 seconds, and there we go. Wow, both sides winning their attacks. That is We're kind of going down to a field battle. And yeah, now the Conqueror's Blade balance is whack. I think there's a lot of. I think it has its own style of balance, and definitely not the kind of game where um, there's no way to make ranged units do critical damage for headshots. Yeah, no, no, no. Like, range sometimes randomly do headshot, and there's also back attacks. So, chances of critical hits for ranged units is pretty high. And less so for melee units, but ranged units have pretty high criticals. Like sometimes, like an average melee unit probably has about 14,000 health. Your musket unit will probably do about 3,000 health, 3,000 damage. Sometimes it'll critical for like 5 to 6,000 damage. So that's pretty much a headshot there. Musket unit's not very good. Yeah, doctrines. Oh man, another facet of Conqueror's Blade is the doctrine system. And there are some pretty strong doctrines that really kind of are necessary to make some units even viable. Um, Even just saying this, you probably understand that it's a very powerful 16% fire rate on musket units or 20% accuracy on musket units. That's crazy amount of power coming out from something like something out that's basically free. You can put doctrines on units for free, and that's free stat increases, and it's kind of crazy. Oh no 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 no! Realistic combat? No way, man. Like it's very far away from realistic combat. It's yeah, like if you got shot with a musket and you're holding a wooden shield, it wouldn't shatter the wooden shield, it just go right through it. It will make a ball-sized hole in that wooden shield, and it wouldn't slow it down even for a fraction of a second. Well, there were there were um there were armor and shields that were capable of stopping early gunpowder weapons, and eventually it was just becoming too expensive to manufacture them. Also, I mean the yeah, when it starts when a bullet is spinning, it's able to preserve more of its energy. What you'll notice with a lot of old style, well, like before the rifling, um, a lot of energy is lost. A lot of energy is lost while in flight, but it's still very deadly. It is, a musket's super in like an old style arquebus is extraordinarily deadly. Even at like somewhat, there's like a historian saying at like 500 yards or something. Hmm. It's really cool talking about other games. I think I hope Conqueror's Blade does go in a cool direction. Um I don't think what Conqueror's Blade started is going to be the end. I hope not. I do hope that Conqueror's Blade will either inspire another or become the game that we all want it to be, but different visions will be contradictory and again will not line up very well. I think they should aim for more realism For Conqueror's Blade, that is. Go for realism instead of being fantastical, because it is easy to lose yourself in the fantastics, and when everything is fantastical, it's less like Syndrome. Like Syndrome said from the Incredibles. When everyone's super, no one will be. And that's kind of deal. This game seems to be lacking extra mechanics then. In a lot of games I play, so offset these imbalances, there is often weapon advantages against certain types. This game has a lot, and I mean a lot of nuances that I'd probably be able to sit here all day talking about it. Um, I think they get overshadowed a lot though by some of the blatantly OP mechanics that are just frankly OP, because one of the things that we're running into a massive problem with is crowd control. Crowd control immunity units are so dominant in the current meta that nearly every single tier 5 infantry has some sort of CC immunity or resistance that just puts them above every other unit immediately. All right, Mesme. Hope to catch you before ECL versus EFFS. But that is going to be a very exciting battle. But right now we have the third battle between Ace and TKT here on the Grassland Assault. Got to be a field battle to decide the tie. Got to be the tiebreaker. Lots of pikes, lots of spears. Wow, four spears, four pikes out from Ace, and we have two spears and six pikes from TKT. Definitely more than half of the team going in with that kill potential. Not as much cavalry as I was expecting from Ace, but lots of cavalry coming out from TKT. Whoa, wrong one. Prime example is that a certain game I play gives axe units an advantage over units with wooden shield or musket shots being able to pierce light armored units. Hi, Alamas. Yeah. I mean, this game introduced a trait where it's called Impeding Force. Pike units basically deal 16% more damage to cavalry units, and they also slow cavalry units. It's a trait that I don't particularly like. It's not exactly heavily nuanced, but surprisingly, TKT going on the defensive here. So B and C getting picked up by Ace really easily here. No contest from TKT. TKT is going in for some ballista play on a high position. Yeah, no, like how it works is that cavalry units can so cavalry units have a charge. Pike units in brace can stop cavalry. Certain cavalry, like the winged hussars, can ignore that. And this is where like certain mechanics ignore other mechanics, and it starts going crazy. How do you stop a galloping horse with a stick? By letting it impale itself and killing itself. That's one of the most important things, is that like it's not that the stick stops the horse, because what actually happens is that the horse will impale itself. As it's getting impaled, it'll try to stop itself. But half the time, the horse will get impaled and land on top of you. So yeah, so to be like a frontline foot soldier, you need a lot of guts and a lot of luck. Oh, it doesn't matter if the spear shaft is made to withstand the weight of the horse. Um, as long as the spear is as long as the spear is relatively like relatively in line in order to make massive horses. Whoa, what the hell? TKT just lost two of their members, but we got a lot of ballistas just getting something just killing those shield maidens at the front there. TKT lost two heroes. That was very fast. Um, yeah. The weight of the horse. Okay, so it's very unlikely to snap to snap a shaft to snap a shaft. It's very unlikely that the angle would be so like like if it's perpendicular, that is the most force you can get on the to snap a shaft. It is very it is very hard to snap a shaft of a pike on an angle that is acute. That is very like if it's directly towards you, it's very hard to snap a shaft that way. But if it's parallel to you, you can easily snap a shaft. That's because of how torque works or something. Yeah, pikes, halberds, spears, all of them need to point and a shaft. That's all. Yeah, just pointy end in the other guy. Easiest job of your life. As long as you're pointing it towards the person that's charging at you, they will literally impale themselves by their own weight. Obviously, like it has to be pretty solid position as well. So that's why putting it in the ground is always really good. Sometimes sometimes you can just stick it into the ground and just running into it will just probably kill the horse. Well, that and it's a ranged weapon, but it's a good thing to not overstate the effectiveness of well, no. The effectiveness of arrows it really the unfortunate thing about arrows and stuff is that they didn't cause wounds or injuries that would actually impede a lot of fighters or even cavalry units. TKT taking a very strange approach, coming up behind Ace here on the backside. So they're actually Ace could actually make a burst towards TKT's base here, and that would be a very surprising move. But they're going to take a fight here at the backside. TKT has cavalry. We got Winged Hussars going through, but no infantry support at the front. Gets semi-stopped. Here comes a second charge, but a side charge from Winged Hussars. Here comes a charge in the back. Oh my god, charges everywhere. But it does look like TKT takes a heavy loss. Big L for TKT here. I don't see very much forces from TKT. Mostly just Ace forces still sticking around. That was very surprising. I don't know what kind of maneuver TKT was going for there, but you're going to end up with a heavy loss. And also, the cavalry charge is not on point here. Definitely trying to brute force with cavalries into a Medal pile. Not a smart idea. Well, the problem is the face units don't plant their spears to face cavalry. But Spartans counter your argument. They would brace their spears right before a charge, and if they didn't, nearly just made it through formation and shields. Well, that's not true either. Spartans, or how to say, um, hoplites didn't doesn't brace like the medieval style pike units. So you would also have to remember that to dismount a cavalry unit back in the ancient period is really easy. They didn't have a saddle or the stirrups that medieval riders had, which made control of the horse and sitting on the horse very, very easy, or more easy. Your just sheer mass. One of the most important things about the shield wall of the sorry, of the hoplite phalanx is the overlapping shields created a singular like sheet, able to have the entire mass of men stand behind it. So it's very difficult for cavalry to actually smash into that and be like, I'm gonna push my way through. Madow's here from TKT gets outnumbered very easily and surrounded. This B point is under heavy condition, but TKT has cavalry all around the place, but not engaging with them. One of the Northern Lands cavalry gets swept up super hard. TKT is running around like a headless chicken right now. They don't know what to do. They're taking bad fights. They're running straight into Madow's, and they're losing their infantry with no support. What is happening to TKT? They're playing like this is their first field battle, and they didn't expect the number of Madao. Not really taking advantage of the great maneuverability of cavalry and really getting locked up in the enemy's Madaos. They've already traded quite a few units, and they're on a really massive deficit now. This is why the Parthian cataphracts was so feared, was because during the ancient times, the heavy cavalry was very scarce. Heavy cavalry To be a heavy cavalry back in the ancient time, you needed horse riding skill, which was crazy in compared to some other periods of time. Again, engaging outmassed here. We got Fortebrashu also supporting, but the Cataphracts cavalry engaging comes in from the side. This is a huge cav off right now, and it's a good sweep, finishing up most of that, finishing up that entire infantry pile right now, and dominance here at the very end. Cataphracts coming in for Ace right now. They're going to delay the B point for a few seconds, and it's kind of mayhem right now. But surprisingly, TKT finally gets off a really nice charge onto that infantry. This flip could be the decider. It does go to TKT. They actually have Madaus here on this point. Where is the rest of Ace? I'm wondering if they're permadeath, or did they all die just now? I'm not watching very carefully here, and I've missed quite a bit. Oh yeah, like none of the horses nowadays are warhorse ready. Like you won't find a warhorse in modern day. It's even if like the reenactors, their horses wouldn't even be near what the warhorses in the olden days would have been like. They would have been these warhorses would have been bred for war because horses because warhorses were trained to bite and kick people, and that is a massive difference. Surprisingly, at the end of all of this, even with a massive unit deficit, TKT comes in with a sweeping victory, with a massive charge coming out, swinging really hard against Ace's last troops. And this is the most surprising thing. It's like TKT took heavy losses on a lot of occasions, and coming in at the very end with a convincing victory just shows you how powerful cavalry can be, that instantly eliminate infantry, even Medals. Congratulations, TKT. Unfortunate for Ace. Ace gets knocked out. of the tournament now. So I'm going to be going on to the next set of battles very shortly, since it is 9 o'clock. Coming down to another field battle day. Well, think about it this way. If you knock a plate armor enemy on a horse over, the force of their armor falling on them can kill them. Actually, that is not true. Yep, this is oh no, this is the winners bracket. Ace still has a chance in the losers bracket, so they will be fighting up against I think CBL actually. So Ace still has one more chance. What could happen is that a knight getting dismounted, like it's very rare I think I'm probably being wrong here when I say falling off a horse in heavy armor won't kill you. It's not like there's probably no cases, but the chances of you dying falling off your horse in armor is actually more unlikely than falling off a horse and dying without armor. Because armor itself protects you from the impact. So I think if you were unarmored, you're more likely to die when you get dismounted than you are if you were unarmored. Granted, I mean, like, armor has evolved, and we we really don't actually have very much statistics on kinds of kinds of like injuries or stuff or like injuries you would suffer if you were to wear that type of armor and then fall off your horse and that kind of thing. So probably be possible. I mean, it's not impossible. Can't say it's impossible. I'm pretty sure if you look throughout all of history, you'll find an instance of something somewhere. Oh yeah, that is a man. Um, I remember hearing about an injury someone suffered to their femur. Someone, okay, no, not someone. Like in a war, someone's femur broke, and their own muscles sent the shards of their femur into their chest, and he died from bone fragments being flung into his chest. And that is very surprising. Um, it's the kind of it's kind of like the disgusting facts that you'd never that like it's super unlikely to happen, but like it can happen, and that's just like wow, the fact that it does happen. Yeah, in the medieval ages. It's also very surprising that it's probably less it's probably less known since it's more pop culture to have plate armor, but apparently the brigandine was more popular than plate armor, and that's probably because of other logistic problems. I'm gonna send you guys for a quick 3-minute ad. I do normally play ads every hour, and I'll be playing some now. Wealthy. Gambeson's cheap though. A good gambeson could be expensive, but like gambeson's really cheap. It's just layers and layers of linen. So an expensive gambeson would just be high quality linen. But I mean, like, would you really? I mean, yeah, it's quite common to have the first or like in the medieval ages, the first armor that you would get in the high middle ages was the gambeson because it was cheap, effective, and affordable. that also has to do with armor becoming cheaper over time, and because the quality of manufacture was so good as well. Or maybe there was just more money in war. There's always money in war. If you really think about it, the amount of money that's been put into war. I mean, like, granted, there's a lot of military technology that was extraordinarily beneficial for um, for us, like the internet, for instance. It's it's it was only invented because of war, and there are many other things as well. But I mean, like, that's the only example I can come up with off my head. I'm not really that good at it. But we should get the ECL versus EFFS set of matches up soon-ish. Hi, Mezume. Welcome back. Who won? Who won? Indeed. We have TKT winning 2-1 against Ace. And it was a very strange field battle. I thought TKT was going to lose until the very end. Congratulations, Mesme, you won your own bet. TKT winning. Yeah. Nah, but you would be surprised, Mesme. The how TKT won was very different from what I expected because throughout the entire battle, Ace was dominating. Oh yeah, there was a fight. There was a fight, and it was very strange. So I don't know what happened at the very end, but I'm gonna just say it out like this. TKT in the first battle took a very weird approach. So they didn't go for B straight away. They got their C point. They allowed Ace to set up towards this a B point and took their A point. So what happened was that you're normally on either side of the ruins, and either side of the ruins, but this time they were on the far side, not the far side, but like one of the alternate sides. So you're not directly, so you're not on the base side of B. Instead, you're on the so TKT is going around the B point on the side closer to the A point, and they ended up coming around the B point until they were actually closer to the enemy base camp, and Ace was actually closer to their base camp, but they were still sitting on the side there. So TKT takes a really bad fight at the back. They get charged from the back. They try to charge the mass of infantry with cavalry several times, in fact, but fail. And this is it's really fascinating that TKT didn't fail just once. They failed twice. They tried to just brute force cavalry charge a lot of Ace's infantry, and in the second time they just took a straight fight coming in from the front, but their cavalry didn't engage, so they didn't commit their cavalry for the second fight. So it was very strange what TKT's approach was. But the third fight, Ace, I don't know what kind of false security they had, but they decided to pull out from a defensive position and push towards TKT, and TKT just swept them up. Like cavalry coming in from every single direction. It like I don't know what happened, but it's just like, did Ace drop the ball? Did Ace's own positioning get them killed? Or did Ace just not have enough there at the very end? And I'll be honest, Ace probably had more units to spare, but that one battle cost them everything. Because once the infantry got swept up, because again, the infantry was out of position and got charged from three different angles, from the front, from the side, and from behind. easily sweeping out that infantry. They got their own infantry, whatever left was it, TKT this is, onto the B point, and they just kept challenging everyone with cavalry. The ace started dropping like flies. 10 people died. The players, not sure what they were doing, but dying very fast was what they were doing. Cavalry, and it goes to show, like, cavalry's super powerful. Timeout, actually. No base caps, just timeout. So TKT ended up capping the B point with like less than a minute and a half to go, and it was that that was that's pretty brutal for Ace, because Ace was holding that base point, that B point for so long, for like 90% of the battle. But anyway, enough about the last battle. Here we are on Wall Fort with ECL facing EFFS, ECL attacking, and we're going to see these two teams kick it off. Interestingly enough, we got the 5 pikes from EFFS, and we're interesting to see lots of cavalry. Ragnar going out with a double, and definitely seeing some numbers of spears coming out from ECL. It is going to be interesting to see what kind of strategy these teams will use. I do think I'm seeing a lot of tier 3s making a resurgence as tier 4 also comes back little by little. Um, Still, majority is tier 5. I don't doubt probably 2/3 of the enemy of both teams are probably tier 5 units. But a good section of EFFS is tier 4, so that is quite surprising. I think the defenders probably would go with more tier 5 heavy, trying to win the battles outright, while the attackers could go with attrition, wearing down the enemy where they can. ECL focusing on the small fort here, pushing up onto the wall. Only one pike, one poleaxe here could definitely just straight up climb with the heroes and brute force their way through, as they do, smacking the halberdiers and whatever surf unit that is there. The halberdiers will be definitely a nuisance, as they instantly clap the. Surprisingly, they instantly clap the whatever climbed just a second ago, and now the Iron Reapers or Berserkers. Something died, but finally enough of them got up and ended that halberdier. So the mortars on the back of the stairs will take out the bridge fairly easily. No surprises there. Does look like ECL is working on the wall. Not a problem. So what we're probably seeing here is EFFS going with the culverins up onto the B wall. Could be seeing ECL go for a suppression with the Metallators, otherwise known as the Falconetti Gunners. Really got used to the Falconetti Gunners name. The right and the middle siege tower gets destroyed, and the wall break is getting battered down, I think, by both sides. Middle siege tower getting dangerously close, but it does get taken out. So that's the kind of timing you want to destroy those siege tower, maximize that value for time. The longer those siege towers are spent not on the wall, the better it is for you. I mean, like, I don't think it. I think it's possible, but I don't think like you should ever risk it. But I've tried to destroy siege towers as they're mounting. As that door comes down, I've destroyed siege towers because they're not mounted until the animation ends, so you can still destroy it. Ragnar does a little bit of climb, comes up, and probably going to destroy that whole Watcher. Probably a good idea to keep it around, actually, and use it against the enemy. It is an awkward spot, though. Not close enough for the front line, but far enough to not be in danger. Wall break went down at some time, not sure exactly because I wasn't watching it. All the siege towers still making their way. That right-hand siege tower getting very close, but I'm not sure if it has very much health left. Not very much indeed. Probably takes another 2 shots to kill it, which EFFS apparently does not have. So not very much time actually was wasted. Just one generation of siege towers and then a little bit of a destruction on that right-hand side. ECL grabbing the A point very easily. EFFS kind of allowing them to move in. I also think that getting hit by these artillery is not going very well for ECL. ECL really needs to be careful on their next maneuver. They have been kind of given free reign on a lot of sections, but those mortars come in effective at the very end. EFFF is putting a lot of pressure on ECL, even though they're just letting them take the A point. And this is the difference between this is the kind of difference that EFFS kinds of shows you, the kinds of presence and kinds of pressure they put on their opponents that you don't see against any other team. Nevertheless, there are quiet periods in the game as the siege towers make it to the wall and the battering ram destroys the front gate. ECL does a little bit of a rotation, 8 minutes to go. I'm going to be looking at a fierce C battle. Could be a rush towards a B just to pick up that little bit of time. But EFFS is no stranger to a hold at the bottom of the B stairs. I've seen EFFS hold the B point and the C point, and they do immaculate jobs because their setup is a bit different from others. As you can see, they're split on 3 different fronts. 3 guys actually on the B side, 2 guys on the C side, and we have the rest next to the supply side. So we're going to be watching very closely what kind of move ECL does in order to take advantage of how spread out EFFS is. If they go through the center, they'll get surrounded. If they go for the supply point, they could actually beat out probably the 10 odd guys that are at supply point before the 5 others get to it. But that's only if they do a perfect 15-man push. Could be looking for some security and slow down the push. I would say EFFS is not evenly spaced. Oh well, they are spaced out, definitely spaced out. Still very heavy on the supply side. So supply side on the right hand side definitely got the majority of the players. I think one of the most interesting things here is that they have troops just walking around, creating that kind of presence. ECL comes down on the right hand side, right hand stairs, moving up slowly. EFFS might take the fight here. We got Forte in the disperse formation. Whoop. We got Shenji grenades going in through. Could be some nasty. Where is it? There it is. There is the Falconetti shots going through. Blasting right through that center line. Medal's. Whoa! Cataphracts coming in from the rear. The instantly wiping a bunch of Medals. The Medals are slowing that push really drastically. Winged Hussars get caught by the Imperial Pike March. This Imperial Pike is massive. Now it completes a round. This is 100% value out of those shields and 2 Medals. But now a massive pool of Cataphracts is coming out from EFFS. Gonna just force their way through the remaining troops. Whoa, maybe not. They pull off. Surprisingly, they allow the Medals and the Iron Reapers in the back to deal with them. And finally, the Cataphracts goes through, probably going to clean up those Shenji Grenadiers. A very fascinating fight there. You probably couldn't tell why exactly it was fascinating, but you see, EFFS presented themselves in such a way that ECL wasted a lot of tools to get through maybe maybe 4 units. They got through a Border Brashio, they got through an Imperial Spear Guard, and they got through two. They got through two Medals probably, max. What they wasted was Iron Reapers, Medals, Imperial Pikewalk, all all in it to just slam all of that just for a little bit of an advantage. Well, here's the thing. Medals do not kill cavalry. And I keep saying this. Medals, if they cannot kill the cavalry, they're still hitting that same cavalry. There's 21 cataphracts. Cataphracts in charge are pretty tanky. And when they're in united charge, they stack up very, very tight. So only maybe 6 of your Medals can hit cataphracts. Most of your Medals are actually not engaged. And even if they were engaged, they would stop half a cataphract and the other half would go all the way through. Also, what's very important is that if you brace on an angle or on an off angle with Medals, you will not deal any damage to the cavalry, but the cavalry will go straight through you. So you need a brace in the proper direction. We got some mortars coming out from ECL, and ECL getting pushed all the way to the wall break here. Massive lethal march combined with a big smack with a grenade, I believe. Medals just gets beaten up really easily. The backside also gets locked up. Man, doing very well on the front side here. The cost effectiveness is amazing. Halberdiers, whoa, no, just regular Halberdiers. Here comes some Tundra humans. I don't know why those Halberdiers charged in. Much better just to leave them to their own devices. Winged Hussars got pulled off. We got Keshigs probably kind of try to wrap around. Could be an easy pickup. Imperial Pike March could come through, but I think they've already used it. Cataphracts cleans those Keshigs up real easy. There's a few of them left, but surprisingly, ECL runs out of steam. Good trade for both sides, though. Both sides losing quite a few units. I agree. That Halberdier charge was probably ill-conceived. Really? Oh, wow. That Imperial Pike March came up much more quicker than I thought it would. Although they're a bit far away, should just kill those Shenjis. Unfortunately, unable to do so. Imperial Pike March actually gets shot to pieces as they were unable to. Cataphracts get beaten out by Winged Hussars. I take that back. They actually survived the charge. I think there's only about 8 cataphracts for that unit left. And ECL, well, being a bit desperate for the B point here. They've sent 2 heroes, going to be stopped by one of the pikes. But EFFS might lose a guy. Oh, he's on critical health. Probably get touched by anything and will die. Or ECL, Ragnar gets tapped. That support by the short sword doing massive work, smacking him right into where that pike can poke him. Now, here at the wall break yet again, but we got low-quality units here. Winged Hussars comes in a bit late, angles weirdly, and gets semi-stopped by the cataphracts. But here comes a Treb right onto your own guys. This is kind of massive friendly fire. I think you hit more of your own guys than you actually hit the enemy just there. But maybe the enemy Winged Hussars were also trying to force their way through. Lots of surf units coming out from ECL as they continue to accelerate forward and probably lose more and more units. EFFS is probably clocking down as well. Probably going to start pulling a lot of surf units in a minute. But we still have slightly more mid-tier units like tier 3 or tier 4. But here comes another Cataphrax along with some Winged Hussars. Going to sweep out the remainder here. Going to be mostly just village watchmen. Just get smacked on the outside there. For 3 seconds left to go. ECL takes a heavy loss in that one. I'm going to have to be honest. I'm not sure what ECL could have done in order to gain an advantage against EFFS. One of the probably what they should have done best is not fight them. But you're going to have to fight them eventually. The first battle at the supply point was not a good trade, to say the very least. Definitely wasting a lot of resources to break through a formation, and definitely cost yourselves a lot as you got swept up there. Legolas is yeah, Legolas is apparently the team captain for EFFS. I'm not sure who the team captain is for ECL, but as you can see, a lot of permadeath coming out, very few kills, as in hero kills. We got 3 people from ECL scoring above the 700 mark, still doing not terribly, and definitely did put up a good fight, taking off quite a bit of EFFS units. Only problem is that it just comes down to the battles just not paying off. Man, I wish I could get paid for doing this. All hearsay, yeah. I remember apparently Crusaders had I forget, like either Crusader has like a millionaire that pays all of the players, or and that 386 is some kind of gaming organization where they actually have like some kind of support from like a group or something. Good morning, Luquin, Lu Luquin Nukem. Ah, yes. So, for those of you don't know, Legolas is apparently part of Crusaders. He was apparently the leader during for Crusaders for several seasons. EFFS is apparently the successor to Crusaders, so they are the new Crusaders, otherwise or rebranded Crusaders. So I think EFFS is the equivalent of Crusaders in this case, and I do think they're definitely showing themselves to be the top team, which has always kind of been the Crusaders' moniker. Definitely something that Crusaders has earned for sure. It is 9:30 for me, so I've been trying to sleep a little bit earlier. I'll try been sleeping like 11. My sleeping pattern's gone out of whack, so if you find me yawning, that's mostly because I've just not been sleeping very well. It's a tough cookie though. EFFS. I mean, sometimes you just don't want to take a fight against these guys. You're the attackers and you get delayed out so hard. But you're just like, you want to accelerate the battles, but EFFS just doesn't allow you to. And, I mean, EFFS is probably one of the few teams where I see them actually using medals correctly. You're waiting for the enemies to make mistakes. You use Lethal March to counterattack, to start a attack, and then use medals to really brace and delay. They're really good at extending the fight because medals are tough. They're really tough, and they're nothing to um, they're nothing except difficult to deal with. An Iron Reaper death pot, um, an Iron Reaper Doomstack is pretty scary, but a little bit of range and medals can definitely encircle them and deal a lot of damage. At least spread out the kind of damage potential that the Iron Reapers are kind of known for. But here we go for the second battle between EFFS versus ECL. ECL is going to have to be very careful when taking a direct fight with EFFS. Gotta have to be in the best position possible to take advantage of whatever strategy EFFS takes. I'm definitely going to be a bit scared for ECL, mainly because I don't believe that ECL can win against EFFS, because EFFS is just a bar above and beyond. Maybe the turn of the tide is in their favor, as one of the members from EFFS does seem to have been has left the battle. Hopefully, he comes back real quick. So does not seem to be the issue. We got quite a bit of cavalry coming out from both sides. More winged hussars coming out from ECL, so probably could beat out a lot of the cataphracts. Nothing too fancy. I think the filler units are probably the most fanciest things I've ever seen. By the way, I think those javelin militia could be wrong and be actually javelin could be actually Demez javelineers. That who knows. I actually think they're javelin militia. They're javelin militia, totally. Surprisingly enough, ECL doesn't take any Bastion Wild Flames. They don't take any Nathan Guards, but they have two Shenji Grenadiers, one Metallitor. As the defending side, you kind of want longer ranged units, kind of keep the pressure on the enemy. Uh, EFFS also not going in with not very much ranged units. Oh yes, I kind of love the fact that Javelin Militia does something that's really funny. So those are that you don't know. The javelin they throw while charging actually causes the CC thrown. You know what's really good about that? They disrupt formations. Against the Fortebraccio, you could charge a javelin unit into Fortebraccios and it will mess that Fortebraccio up and it will be hilarious. Although definitely not definitely won't be able to beat the Fortebraccio. They don't have the damage for it. But it's just funny. It's just a funny note to put. I used to use javelin militia back in the day, and I used to have a lot of fun stopping stopping a lot of stuff. I used to stop. Use it against really funny things like Imperial Pike March, cavalry charges, and this was before the days where swords and shield unit charges had block. So I used to charge javelineers. Um, I used to charge javelin militias into other charging units, and I would win. You can still do that with prefecture pikemen, and it's really funny. Yeah, a tier 4 or 5 version of javelin militia will be amazing. I'm surprised that they haven't done it yet. One of the things that I don't think the game does well is their tier system. Their tier system really doesn't make sense. Um, while we're on while we're kind of on the tangent, just update onto the grounds here. EFFS takes the B, takes the A very easily. Does look like ECL gave up the wall and have retreated back to the supply point. They've stacked pretty hard on the supply point, and the presence, sorry, EFFS getting to the B point does show that the fact that ECL is stacked heavy on the right hand side. So we're going to see a little bit of mortaring right now. I also think that's a kind of a weird play. Not destroying the bridge. If the bridge is destroyed, destroying the wall is really great. It does waste a lot of time, and it makes the stairs there on the B side a little bit inaccessible for EFFS. But I think maybe preserving your resources for ECL is what they're going for, allowing EFFS to make some mistakes. We got some counter mortar fire actually coming out, trying to destroy the mortars that they place. But we're about to see a contest. Who's a better shot? Zeroing in on your cannons can take a few shots to get correct. You have to be lucky to get your first hit through. And considering that you can't see your target, it's even more worrisome. Ooh, direct hit from that mortar. Wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure where he's scouting from. I don't know why, but I just imagine hearing the whistling sound of when you like hear artillery coming down. Like in my head, like it didn't exist, but it just made the sound in my head as I was watching the mortars just go up and down. Yeah, probably late by a minute. I'm looking at some other things, talking about some other things. EFFS really taking a slow approach here. I think they're ready with their unit composition. Those that needed to swap out probably already swapped out. We've got some Cataprex and some Winged Stars probably ready in reserve. Got that Imperial Shield. The Imperial Spear Guards really just designed to screen. They've really brought back shield units as a core part of the formation. They're really important, but I think their performance has been a little bit low. Also, the decrease in leadership cost is probably the biggest up in probably the biggest thing. You get a really tanky unit for cheap. A little bit of cap from EFFS. ECL gonna challenge that with a short sword. There is a ballista there. Gonna get some more kills. It's best to note that having your medals in brace formation can help them survive against ballistas. If they're not in brace formation, they just die. So that's why you better have the brace formation, and that's because medals have 20% damage resistance to everything else besides cavalry and infantry. And I think that's melee infantry, not range infantry. Range infantry gets reduced by 20%. So taking the left-hand side does look like EFFS is taking the slow approach. Going to put on a lot of grape shot. This is going to be a fearsome look. So getting shot by the Falconetti gunners, definitely pulling back. Definitely don't want to take don't want to take pot shots from the Falconetti gunners for too long. Could go for the front of the supply or could go up from the side. If they go from the side, it might be a little bit awkward with the Falconetti gunners so close. But they did a swing and they swung back around, going in back to the C point. I don't think it's going to be a double feint. I think they're actually going to take the fight here. Once the Metallators start firing, they'll accelerate forward, and what probably will happen is that... Did we go back in time? Nope, we can't see the balls anymore. Yep, they're going to accelerate towards the C point and speed up the battle, minimizing the areas in which the Falconetti gunners are concentrating. Trying to get a flank with the cavalry. Here comes Winged Stars from the side. Oh, Winged Stars from the front. Smashes through the center. Making a big dent. Here comes some Winged Stars come through the side, but unfortunately the Vidals brace just in time. The tragedy. Alright, a lot of the cavalry have pulled off and heading towards the supply point. Surprisingly, the Falconetti gunners have not been able to make a good dent into the enemy formation. 13-10. So EFFS is losing more heroes than ECL, but ECL definitely needs to keep the pressure up at the very least. 2 guys left on the supply point, 3 guys left roaming around, and not bad indeed. Both teams definitely struggling, but defenders does have the upper hand, just barely, probably out 1 unit. Exactly 1 unit, probably. I'm going to have to hand it to ECL from holding that fairly convincingly. I'm not sure. Well, maybe 2 units. Depends if the Falconetti Depends if the Falconetti Gunners are still alive. Probably 3. Lots of cavalry still in reserve for EFFS. So EFFS didn't make any good exchanges here. Although the fight was pretty intense, ECL is in a good position. 6 minutes 30 and counting. ECL doing a second pull could hold this next attack, and it will basically be down to Surf. So it'll come down to probably hero performance, and I'm expecting some hero performance coming out from both sides. As you're looking at those spears, you're looking at those pikes, and you definitely know someone's gonna die the moment they jump down. Scouting a bit, we got the Talators firing onto the pile yet again. Very deadly, if I must say so, but also very good at destroying enemy artillery. They also set up way faster than your hero's artillery, but are extremely more vulnerable. Besides the fact that you can actually move it, but yeah, that's all to be seen. Not sure what kind of move EFFS will make, but the clock is ticking. If it hits 3 minutes, they'll probably be not have enough time. But they're going for a supply point push. So here they come. We got probably Cataphract's going to lead. Massive medals around this corner, in fact, actually. A nice halberdier formation, if I do say so. Winged Hussars looking for a gap. Where'd they go? Oh, no, here they come now. Winged Hussars, Cataphracts from behind as well. Winged Hussars actually delete the Cataphract from behind. Surprisingly, EFFS is taking this fight really convincingly. Losing a lot of cavalry there. I think they just lost 3 different cavalries of Cataphracts. The count is in favor of EFFS. EFFS could take this. ACL is abandoning ship and running away. Alice could come in for the defense. Or that... No. Rice is dead. Rice is dead. I thought maybe Long or Alice could have knocked off those heroes, but nah, dead. Deadly dead. Done diddly dead. 10 players dead for ECL. This is not looking good. Gotta really be careful. Imp Pike backwards. I didn't see an Imp Pike backwards. I think the Imp Pike. I don't think the Imp Pike march was very effective. I think they walked right into an Iron Reaper and just died. Oh, one of EFFS's Imperial Pike marched backwards? I didn't see that. Ah, man. Yeah, nah. That would be pretty brutal. They could have won even harder. They won very convincingly on the supply point anyway, so I don't think they needed it at that point. But again, going for the supply point push, going in for their sure victory. And as you can already tell, ECL coming in short with a lot of surf units. This would be the 3rd battle, so both sides should basically have used all of their tier 5s. Whatever's left of ECL's tier 5s is here. Cataphract's going in. Wow, nice block. I don't know what stopped them there, but maybe Iron Reapers actually killed them. The charge, this erratic camera, looking left, looking right, charge in the back, getting stopped by a pike right click. That is one of the few times I've ever seen that happen. Unfortunately, even though the heroes from ECL are still alive, cannot pull, and they're getting dominated as the sheer unit quality is winning the day, multiple charges go through. Most of the serfs are now dead for both sides, but heroes are clocking down for ECL and a dominating victory for EFFS. Definitely got to give them a round of applause for their first defense. Unfortunately, could not hold against the tide of EFFS. Sometimes, sometimes the best strategy is just to fight the enemy. EFFS is kind of the team where if you're not fighting at your best, you're just gonna get rolled. I've said this before, but like it's still apparent now. Crusaders have always been the kind of team where they will try different strategies, and if all else fails, they will just beat you in a direct fight. In a direct fight like that, you would think the defenders would have the advantage, but somehow EFFS just could not hold. Not EFFS. ECL could not hold against EFFS push towards that supply point, even if they botched it a little bit. Um, yeah. They are the step above. They are the team that everyone wants to be. EFFS is showing their dominance, and they are Crusaders, so they are the new Crusaders. They are the Crusaders. They are the Crusaders that have stayed around. A lot of the Crusaders have left the game or have moved to the Vanguard server, from what I've been told. But a section of it have stayed with Legolas, as Legolas kind of apparently has named himself the leader of Crusaders, or in some parts. But I do think the members have changed for Crusaders over time, but that doesn't mean that they're any less effective. They're still brutally better than every other team you ever see. They don't lose often, and when they do, they come back with a vengeance. I don't know how EFFS can win every. Like, that's the thing. Nearly every time they do a direct push towards that supply, I've rarely seen them fail. Rarely see them fail. I've probably seen only one or two failures towards the push on that supply point that I'm just baffled at how other teams just stop other teams from pushing that supply point, but EFFS takes it like they take it so easily. It's like I'm just like, what's the difference? What are they doing that is different? And it probably is just unit control, hero control, probably just a difference in teamwork as well. Except for the botched Imperial Pike Walk. I think the Imperial Pike Walk could have definitely walked over those Medals and the Fort Brushiers super easily and allow them to win even harder. But that victory towards the supply point was already very strong. ECL by no means is a weak team. It's just EFFS just makes them look weak. That's how strong EFF is. They're on a different level. They're legitimately on a different level. And it was quite fascinating. I think one of the teams that were facing off against EFFS did some crazy maneuvers. Even though it didn't work, they definitely made EFFS take take a second to think. Nevertheless, that's all for today. Gonna hope you guys enjoyed the stream. But we'll get to see me again on the Sunday. Of course, there is no stream on the Saturday because there is TW. According to this schedule, there will be two battles on the Sunday. On the Sunday, there will be a battle at 8 o'clock. We'll get to see the finals of the winners bracket. So we'll get to see TKT versus EFFS. And if EFFS is Crusaders, we know how this happened last time. Crusaders taking the win. So TKT definitely going to need to step up their game. They haven't really shown the kind of skill EFFS has, so I do think EFFS will take the win, but we'll have to see on the day whether or not they do. But we still have the losers bracket as well. So we saw the two lose. So we saw Ace lose to TKT and Ecliptos losing to um, EFFS. Ace will go fight CBL for their losers bracket match, while I forget who it was. I believe On Fire will fight Ecliptos in their losers bracket, and then the winners of those two matches will go fight each other to then fight off against the loser of the winners bracket, and then finally the winner of that gets to fight off against the winner of the winners bracket. So it will be interesting. We'll get to see all four of these teams again and again. Yeah, I believe so. If I'm not wrong, Pleb, yeah. On Fire won against Pleb. Oh, it's a rematch! I didn't realize. That's funny. It's a rematch for ECL versus Pleb. I'm pretty sure there's been several rematches already. I haven't been keeping track of it. I can check that really quickly now, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just verify this before I close up my stream, guys. So just bear with me as I'm waiting. Yeah, On Fire won the field battle versus Pleb. So yeah. No, wait. Hang on. Wait. On Fire won against Pleb, so they will fight against ECL. So ECL will fight against On Fire. Jesus. When are the finals? The finals are on the 14th, which is a Sunday. So a week from now. No more matches today. No more matches today. No more matches today. Um, so I'll say that again. Um, there's no matches tomorrow. On Sunday, we'll watch TKT versus EFFS. We will then watch in the second battle CBL fight off against Ace, and that's in the losers bracket. On the Wednesday following, we'll get a bunch of battles, but the first one will be On Fire versus ECL, and then the winners of those two, the losers bracket will fight off against each other, and then for fight off against each other in the second match on the Wednesday, and then there's three battles happening on the Wednesday. That is fucking insane. Um, and then we will watch the loser of the finals of the winners bracket fight off against the winner of the lower bracket. Well, like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening, but yeah, yeah. Pleb is out, unfortunately. Pleb has lost. Um, if there's no more question from you guys, that is all for my stream. I do hope you guys enjoy this. There is still 3 more days of CBL left for this season, so we'll get to see. So hopefully you guys come for the finals on the Sunday next week on the 14th. But I hope you also guys enjoy the Sunday coming and the Wednesday. So definitely check me out. I love to commentate for the CBL, but that is all for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Other than that, my name's Azakai. Have a nice day. Bye now.